Hey guys, how's it going? How's my audio? Can you hear me okay? All right, all right. Just gonna set up a few different things here. Let's see. This one needs to be... Just give me a second here. Just making sure that all my screens are being able to share properly here. Perfect. I just gotta log into my broker here as well. All right, I'm logged in now. Switching over. Alrighty, gang. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. What up, what up, what up? Have you guys taken any trades yet today already? Got my beverage in hand, my caffeine for the night. Nice, okay. In a long right now, eh, Jake? You in a long or you in a short, actually? Sorry, you didn't say what position you're in. Yeah, okay, long. We definitely need to hold this. We'll need to be able to hold above this area. 665. Yeah, I like the high low bounce. It was good. We had a pretty solid 5-minute bar candle here. Kind of shooting up. Would have been nicer if I actually like tagged VWAP, but take what you can get at this point. I like the hold here too, right? When you take a look at the time frame, we this last kind of higher potential higher high that we were setting up here, we're using that essentially as a springboard right now to kind of connect our higher low in. So I mean, longs. I don't blame you for going long. I think that even if you were to long, let's just say, I guess it'll be a little too late if you do it right now. The risk to reward is not worth it. What's your PT, Jake? Are you looking to take it somewhere in this area, or are you looking for a larger move? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, even if you were to enter a long right now, it'd be dicey just because you don't have a lot of like runway. Like you'd literally be like risking 10, taking 10 is essentially what you'd be doing right now. I think we have the potential to recover, honestly, the move back up to where we were earlier from the prior session, but we'll obviously want to be able to see if we can continue to set in higher lows to make our way back up there. Let's take a look at gold. What do we do on gold here? Okay. So looking at bounce at this level here. Okay, I can see what you're trying to do there. I don't know if gold's going to have the strength tonight, to be honest, to recover that gap down. I'm a little bit more bearish on gold. Let's take a look at the larger time frames here and see what we're looking at. Yeah. We'll see how this hourly closes, to be honest, I guess, eh? This hour close will kind of define whether or not longs would even still be on the table for gold. Especially as we go into the London Open. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it, brother. For a second there, I'm not gonna lie, when you made that comment, I was like, check the chat. I'm like, did I do something wrong here? What did I do? I'm like, oh wait, never mind. I understood what you meant after. A little slow right now. If we close bearish on the 15 on NQ right now, I honestly would be more bearish than bullish. I'm hoping we hold this, obviously. That's why I have this. I'll just close that box. That's why I have this line at 26,665 drawn. I really want us to hold this in order for us to continue moving up longs from here. I can't remember who I was talking to. I feel like I was talking. I don't remember if it was a student or if it was someone on YouTube, but I made the comment like lately I found that like price within the 26, whether it's 26,000, 25,000, 24,000, I have found that 665 has just been a random price of interest for me. I'm not just making that up. When I look back at my journal notes of trades I've taken over the course of time, it has just actually been a spot that's just of interest. So thought it was really interesting to see, and I just to see it kind of respected again today. Yeah, coincidence maybe, I don't know. If you guys are just hopping in here as well, by the way, guys, definitely drop a like and what have you here. We will be doing a giveaway later on today as well. I got a 50K account to give away midway through the stream. So if you haven't liked already, drop a like. If this is your first time streaming in, definitely drop a subscribe. Project 365, we'll be doing this 10 hours a day, every day. As long as the market's open, we're open. Something that I'm actually thinking about doing. I'm not going to do it today because like I've been catching up on a lot, so I don't feel like I'm mentally ready to kind of play this game with myself this week. But I actually, for those who don't know, I trade Take Profit Trader. So Take Profit Trader, Top Step are the only two accounts currently today that I can trade with because I've been capped out with most. Now, as I say that, I know there are a lot of other futures props out there that I could dabble in. I've just taken this as a sign for me to kind of chill out and relax a little bit, which is the reason why I haven't hopped onto ones like E8 or Top One Futures, any of those guys. Right now, I'm still pending to move live with My Funded Futures. I'm probably going to shoot him an email tomorrow because it's taken a few days already, so I'm surprised I haven't gotten an update yet on it. And then Lucid, I should be done my cool down period in about 2 weeks, so I'll be back to trading Lucid again soon here. Hey, welcome, Nancy. First time. Ask any questions you want, man. I know that generally for me, because I'm trading the slower period of the day compared to most people, I have more time to kind of chat with you guys, answer questions, kind of provide any kind of thought points you guys are kind of looking for, right? But one of the things I was talking about in terms of the Take Profit Trader, why I brought that up, I think it would be a little fun for me to, trade on stream with the account and also kind of see how many days I can get payouts with it. And so for those who don't know, Take Profit Trader, although is very challenging during the funded phase, because when you're funded, it has an intraday trailing drawdown to it until you get past the buffer. But one of the things I'm looking to do is I'm going to trade that Take Profit Trader account every single day on stream this week and see, and not saying that I'm going to get my hopes up, but we'll see if I can get paid every single day on that account. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to try running out this week. For those who have never traded Take Profit Trader, they do have a 40% off discount, code RT. You guys can see at the top already. And they actually have no activation fee as well. So as long as you use code RT for the 40% off, you will ensure you get the discount, but also no activation fee when you get the account passed. So just an FYI to the gang here. Oh, so Chico Trading, I'm assuming you're asking about the question in regards to the cooldown. So with Lucid Trading, unlike a lot of the prop firms, when you cap out with them, basically meaning that you've hit their maximum amount that they're willing to pay you, most prop firms just kind of say either you move live or you get capped. And so if you're new watching, you probably don't know, but I live in Vancouver, Canada. Most prop firms actually don't allow me to move live because the platform in which we trade live on isn't allowed to be used where I am in my region. Rhythmic Pro is the only one that I think that works, but I've tried Rhythmic Pro when I moved live with Funded Futures Family, and it just didn't really work well. I constantly had latency issues and all that. So for me, if that's the only option, I don't even take it. So it's usually I only get two options, or I guess sorry, I only usually get one option, which is to get capped out, meaning I can't trade with them anymore. But that's actually why I love Lucid, because Lucid, they just kind of put you on a 4-week break. So it's like a 4-week cooldown period. And then I can restart with them again and trade sim again. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for. And so if you don't know already, on my YouTube, I posted about this as well a few weeks back. I traded Lucid for about 3.5 months, and I maxed out. I got about $61,000 in payouts, and then I also took my live payout because I couldn't move live for about another 14. So about a little over $75,000 in payouts in about 3.5 months. Just typing something out here for a second. Give me a second here. Hey, PBN Josh, are you longing on NQ right now? Just double checking. I don't want to assume, just because I know a lot of you guys trade a lot of different kind of assets. So Lucid, I don't know if they have an exact dollar, but what it is like if you have a funded account with them, the automatic trigger for moving live is if you get 5 payouts with that one account. No matter whether you've gotten 1 payout or 4 payouts on the other ones that you may have, you automatically get triggered to move live right away. So that's essentially how it works with them. Usually the monetary value for capital for most prop firms, and you have to read the fine print, is between $50,000 to $100,000. So it really depends. I know for a fact that my Funded Futures and Tradeify, to my knowledge, is $100,000 is what their capital rate is. And Top Step, someone told me it was 200,000. I can't remember, but I think it's $200,000 for Top Step. So for the Serge, for that second round, I don't know. Again, I don't know how that will work. This will be my first time going through it, and it's actually not even in the fine print about how much they'll cap you at. So I mean, because I'm coming back after a cooldown, I potentially I wouldn't be surprised if my name's flagged in their system, so that if I get even a couple of payouts back to back, they might cap me again. I don't know. Hard to say. I guess I'll share that experience as I go with them. So I'm not really too sure at the moment. In terms of the cap wise, I see the question. It's capped for the lifetime of the account of the prop firm. So like for example, like Tradeify, I took that 100K payout cap like last May, I think it was last May or last April, and so I haven't been able to trade with them ever again since then because I can't go back to them. So, but I still advocate for Tradeify just because Tradeify is still overall a really great prop firm in terms of its like payouts and dashboards and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I can't trade with them anymore. NQ, yeah, you know what? I mean, how I look at it right now is that in the end of the day, we're very bullish, right? We're still in a bull market right now. Like we've reclaimed obviously our all-time highs over the New York session. You can kind of see here. I'll move it actually to one time frame, so that's easier to kind of look at the chart here. But you can kind of see here, we obviously tagged our all-time highs up here, and so we've kind of made our way back down now. I think we're just going to consolidate a little bit here. The way I look at it is that as long as we continue to hold here, I think we have the ability to definitely make our way back up. I would like us to have a reclaim above this 26,692 area, and I would like a strong bullish close here. If we can get that, we might have the potential to actually break the highs of the overnight session here and make our way back up. I would definitely be wary of this 26,739 area. So assuming that we can break above this 692 spot, I would look to definitely make sure I take profit or close before I get to 739, sorry, because I do think that that's going to be a very likely a area of resistance. Also, I would say that as long as we hold above VWAP, right, I think that's always a nice indicator for me. I look at the VWAP, and for those who don't know, because I obviously there's all levels of experience coming onto the stream here. VWAP is variable weighted average price, right? So for me, I look at VWAP as kind of like a dynamic level to a certain degree, where it gives you a sentiment of the market of whether we got more buyers or we got more sellers happening. So it's just one of those little things that I look at in the marketplace. The indicators that I have on Jaden is more so of additional conviction and confluence. So indicators for me aren't the drivers for me for trades. Like I don't, it doesn't make the decision, but it helps provide conviction for a decision that I may have already made. So for example, if price formed in a way that makes sense to me, and I say, hey, you know what, I want a long here, and it just so happens that the indicators are also working in within my favor, then I'd be interested in giving that extra push because of the additional layers. Unorthodox, do those ever reset? Apologies, I don't know what that question is regarding. Could you clarify that one for me a little bit? So Robert, it really depends. I can't speak for all people on Instagram. For me, like I said, I'm limited. That's a big part for me why I can't. It really is just because of that. Because if I could, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. I think the only other thing as well is that depending on what region of the world you're in, I think there are obviously tax benefits to taking prop payouts versus live trading. Because as soon as you trade live, you're a professional trader. You're paying for your own fees. You're live on the market, which also means that like I think there's I can't remember what the proper accounting or legal terminology is, but you're essentially is it like divestitures of assets in and out? I can't remember what the terminology is, but basically you get taxed differently. So for some people, they don't want live because from a tax perspective, it just doesn't make sense for them. So there's honestly a lot of different reasons for it. I can't speak for the other people, but those will just be things that are kind of off the top of my head. Some people will try to obviously sim farm as well, and you can only do that for so long as well because at some point if you sim farm, I'm sure they're basically their systems will flag you at some point and just ban your account. I've seen props do that before, so yeah. Anyways, I don't know if that answers the question, but oh, the payout caps, yeah, they don't reset, man. It's lifetime. So for me, like for example, like I said, I made my $100,000 from Tradeify. I can't go back. Like it is what it is. I've asked the question as well. I can't. Same thing with Apex, right? Like I was with the old legacy Apex model, so not the new revised one. The new revised one's amazing because like they have end of day drawdown now versus the intraday trailing. So like these accounts are obviously way better. But back then for me, when I traded Apex, the account that I had moved all the way to the uncapped phase, which is basically means that, and they don't offer this anymore, by the way, guys. At least I don't think they do. Um, I moved it all the way to uncapped, which meant that I could withdraw the entire balance of my account. So that 150K account that I had with Apex, I had withdrawn $80,000 in prop payout with it. But I left myself with very little drawdown when I did that, which inevitably at some point I did blow that account. And the thing is that, and I didn't know this at the time, but basically, if you've made it to that point, again, these rules don't apply anymore. So like take it for a grain of salt because they don't have this whole uncapped thing anymore. The rules are completely different. But back then, it basically meant that if you made it to the uncapped phase, if you lost the only accounts you had, you wouldn't be able to trade with, you wouldn't be able to buy more accounts anymore. And so that's essentially how I got capped out, essentially, if that makes sense. Yeah, if you still have four legacy accounts, Dro, dude, like I'm assuming, I don't know. Again, you may have to ask a question, but I think they will still honor the whole uncapped component. You'll have to read the fine print though, because I don't actually know. I haven't looked at the Apex website in a very long time. Yeah, PP and Josh, I'm not sure if you heard me earlier, so I'm just reading your question right now. But why don't they just move me live? Because I can't. Where I am, I can't. Again, like I said, although most of those trade influencers, I think they live in the U.S., so they should be able to move live. There's no reason why they wouldn't be able to. I just can't because if you actually look at the Ninja Trader Trade of 8 agreement in the legal agreement, it actually like the regions that they have in Canada. If you live in the East Coast of Ontario, you can move live for sure. But if you're on the West Coast in Vancouver, it's just not an option. Yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Yeah, AJ. So when they did that, when they removed the sim cap, that only applies to new traders. So old traders don't matter. So I actually asked a question because when they removed the sim cap, I don't know if you remember this, AJ, but they had launched their Tradeify Cup competition, and that's actually what triggered me to ask the question because I wanted to trade in the competition, and they said I couldn't, and I said, oh, why not? Like I thought this has nothing to do with like the sim funded part of it, right? But I think it's just because I'm technically capped out, I couldn't. And I asked the question if I would apply, if me being a legacy trader applies for the new one, and apparently it doesn't. So, anyways, that's the reason why. But I still recommend for like all my students who work with me, I still recommend Tradeify. Tradeify and Lucid are two prop firms I recommend for them just because of just how reputable, how fast their payouts are and everything. Like it's just kind of hard to argue it. So I definitely recommend them. If you're experienced enough and you're willing to deal, like if you're a scalper, I'll recommend them like Take Profit Trader, just because intraday trailing drawdown. Like if you're like Jake, right, where like he holds his positions for a long move, intraday trailing drawdown accounts are rough, to be honest, because like it can literally move in your favor, and just because it comes back to your entry point, depending on where your intraday trailing is at that point in time, you could blow your account, even though you technically never went into your stop loss. So that's what makes intraday trailing really tough. So for scalp traders that work with me, apologies, I'm still getting over a cold. For the scalp traders that work with me, I generally recommend Take Profit Trader because you get the daily payout option. Yeah, it is a little bit of a benefit. I do appreciate it. I mean, there's a lot of prop firms too. Like there's a prop firm right now that's being built out right now as well that I'm kind of excited for. So I'm waiting for them to announce their like rollout. Um, but I'm looking forward to it because that's going to be a prop firm that I'm 100% going to be hopping on board and will likely trade as part of the live stream for this as well in the near future. Hey Armani. As of right now, I would look for longs just because we're still above VWAP. I made the comment earlier. I was talking to one of my students actually earlier. She actually caught the short up here. If you were in the short up here, then I would still be holding it, because honestly, if this continues to go down, we'll either tag and double bottom here at the VWAP, or we might be able to pierce back down to Globex and retrace that, right? So we'll see what the market offers right now. I would like long because I feel like if I take shorts right now, it's a little, I'm a little, I may have missed the move already. Let's double check here. Let's take a look at the chart. Yeah, so as I was talking, I definitely missed the move. Like if there were to be another one, I would have taken it up here, 699, and I would have put my stop loss above there, above the high there. So something like this. It's probably what I would have gone for. And it would have been very valid R to take this for me. Yeah, but right now I'm not. I already missed it because yeah, I didn't get a chance to even catch that. I haven't tried Tradeify's daily payout, so I'm not really too sure about that. Hey Johns, yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I don't talk about the type of stuff on stream too much, just because like we're not here to like, I'm not looking to sell stuff here on stream. Just really want to talk about charts and kind of help you guys out, provide my perspective on things. But you can reach out to me on Instagram though, man, if you're curious. I think that every trader is on their own journey, right? And so whatever it may be, like I think it's very unique to each trader. So I don't think it's a one size fits all. But that's my Instagram, guys. If you guys are curious, you definitely drop me a follow there, and we can always take this type of conversation offline. Yeah, yeah, PB and Jock. I would like to be honest, right? I really think that to get a nice bounce off of VWAP with like a very strong, a bullish close back above the 665 would be like a really nice indicator for me to see if we can actually create a new higher high. And sorry, yeah, in order for us to create a new higher high, like right now, this ideally for bulls, this would have been ideal already, right? If had we locked in here on this 15, it would have been nice to see a continuation. The fact that we had this next bar kind of like halt our price action, I do think we're going to come back down and retest this, which is why I'm saying that I would have entered a short if I wasn't chatting to catch that move all the way down to the bottom. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Ron. So I just typed that in and that works. Hold on. I want to try that out actually. I haven't tested that yet. Give me a second here. Let's see. Oh, cool. Thanks, Ron. What are you full porting, Cole? What are you full porting? Yeah, Ron's a G, man. He's Ron G for a reason. Oh, there's the move. There's the tag of VWAP. You see that, guys? So that trade, if we had taken that, that would have been just a solid 15-point banger already. Straight towards VWAP, that tag. So anyone who took the short, nice work. Anyone who held the short from up here, even better. Hey, thanks for all those code thingies. I'll keep that. I'm copy and pasting those right now to myself. Ron, are you actually going to hang with me all the way to the end of the night again, man? My man, I feel bad for you. Thanks, Ron. Hey, what's up, right guy? Yeah, Ron doesn't sleep, man. I think I said, I don't remember if I said this on stream earlier, if I was talking to my student now. I'm getting a little bit mixed up here, but I did make the comment earlier because we had this really strong 5-minute candle form above the VWAP, and I made the comment, I'm like, I don't like the fact that we didn't touch VWAP, because personally for me, I would like to tag that first before even looking for longs. So I think just the fact that we ended up like kind of faking that move and locking in a lower high just to come back down, I mean, kind of just proved my point. Yeah, Cole. As far as sleep goes, man, I average 5 hours of sleep. That's like a normal day to me. If I can get 6-7 hours of sleep, man, that's a golden day for me. If you guys are just hopping on, drop a like, gang. We'll be doing a little bit of a giveaway later on as well. So, hey, what's going on, Adik? Whereabouts are you from? Morning stream. Are you like Eastern Hemisphere, I presume, then, right? Or are you, or is that down under? Are you in Australia? Austria. I was close. No, I was kidding. Cool, man. Cool. Welcome, man. Welcome. Yeah, man. I don't know if you guys saw Rick's. I think he posted on Instagram. I think it's Mitch and I are the two dad streamers, so both of us have kids. So right now it's kind of the same thing for me. So we put the two kids down to bed already, and so this is like this is the time that only time I could actually stream with you guys, because wife's asleep, kids asleep. This is my time. Ah, okay. Down under's evening. Okay, got it. Yeah, sleep is really important, guys. It really is. I know it's probably one of my most unhealthy traits about myself. I do trade the New York session. I just don't trade it as much anymore. Like I actually used to trade like 90% New York. If had you asked me this question 2 years ago, but with like the shift of like between like my entrepreneurial life, like I work in the restaurant industry in business, so I deal with a lot of that. And then I also, with my kids going to school, my mornings are quite guarded for me. Like I protect that time for them. So I don't trade New York as much. And when I do trade New York, I trade options. I don't trade futures actually as much, because usually I'll be able to get most of my hits in over Asia and London on futures. Look at that push down, guys. Look at that push down. What's gold doing right now? Anyone in the trade at the moment? Yeah, I don't know how far. I mean, Bulgin, I'm not surprised, because I think we talked about that before too. Because MNQ and NQ prices are always, even from a price perspective, they're usually slightly different. Are you shorting right now, Ron, or are you in a long? You're long on oil, eh, Jason? I actually haven't looked at oil. I don't even know what oil is doing right now. What's oil doing? Let's take a look. Gold, look at that bounce off that level. Someone here earlier, we were talking about gold. We were talking about the bounce off the 806 level for longs. Which one of you guys are on in longs right now? Yeah, it was Leo. I remember. There you go. Let's lock that in, man. Let's get it. Let's get it. If I wasn't a long on gold right now, I'd be trimming. I would be trimming, to be honest, right now. This is a very healthy spot right here. 848.15, like so anywhere between here, I would be trimming right now. And then I would let runners run to see if we could make move into the higher areas. Yeah, nice trade, Leo. Nice trade on gold. I don't even touch oil, so I have no idea what to even expect on this one. But it looks like when it does move, it moves quite well. Platinum. Dear, look at that. What kind of candles are these, man? Oh my goodness. I could not touch platinum. That looks gross. I'm not ready to short NQ. So I think one of the things we talk a lot about, and I think even Jake's talked about this before, is that like it's important that we as traders recognize the difference between a trade and a move, right? And so a trade, generally speaking, should resemble a setup that you're specifically looking for on the market. A move either is literally what it sounds like, it's a move, so there was really no setup, or it could also mean that your setup has already executed, and at any point of your entry now, you're just catching or you're just chasing the move that came from your setup. And I think sometimes that can actually be very dangerous, right? Like I think that's the reason why I specifically highlighted the words that I had said earlier, which is like when someone asked me like, oh, what should we do? Should we long or should we short? And then the moment I actually looked at the chart, I was like, ooh, I would have shorted. However, because the move had already begun, I didn't want to short anymore. And the reason is because if I take it now, it is chasing. And it also means that from a risk perspective, I could be risking more than I originally would have wanted on that trade, which is the reason why it doesn't make sense. Now, if I wanted to just shoot for shot and just take it anyways, and I totally could have too. But just, I think if there's something for you guys to really take away, that is that, right? The difference between a trade and a move. We don't want to chase, right? Because as traders, our goal here is to develop a sustainable skill set where we can replicate that setup over and over and over again. And I don't know about you guys, and maybe someone might disagree with my comment here, but I can count more times than my hands can count where I've burnt my accounts by chasing a trade, even though it was a trade move that happened from a setup that I was looking for. But the fact that I chased it is what killed me. So just my 2 cents on that, guys. Always fresh reminder, if you guys are just hopping on, drop a like, ask your questions as well. Feel free. We'll be doing a giveaway later on today in the stream as well. So yeah, FOMO's not good, guys. FOMO's not good. Let's take a peek at gold. Nice. So you see that earlier right here, guys, on gold. So this is the reason why I said this would be a good spot to trim. I don't know if you guys remember me making that point earlier. That trim right there is exactly why I want to. So it's not about whether or not gold can continue moving. For all I know, it could continue pushing forward. But I specifically said trim here because for me, when I look at this, this is a good spot to take profit in case it does turn against you. So whether you were to close this or whether you were to trim it, either way it makes sense. So if I was like in 2 contracts, for example, on gold, I would have trimmed here and then I would have held and either A, leave my stop loss where it is to respect the game, or B, to just minimize my loss, because depending on what my expect on this trade is, I might either move my stop to break even or move my stop up. But this exactly was a solid spot for us to take profit in. So Leo, I don't know if you ended up taking profit, if you closed it, if you're still holding full size, but yeah, that was a spot of interest for me. So A lot of the times when I look at these setups too, I'll look back and I'll be like, okay, did I make the right call? And more often than not, I find that like these spots that I'm looking at, they are spots of interest. And so yeah, it might keep running. So meaning that you could be, cutting your winners a little too early, which is a very high probability as well. I like to, if I'm trading multiple contracts, to at the very least give myself the ability to kind of capture a little bit of that and then let the runners run. And that also means that for me, if I'm letting the runner run, I'm a lot more comfortable and I'm more confident, because that's one of the questions that gets asked to me a lot is like, Alan, how do you hold for those like 200-point NQ moves? I don't got the balls of steel that Jake's got to hold those moves, or even Ron. I mean, he like, I think your YM trade, you moved like 200 points or something the other night. Like I can't. I don't have the balls to hold that, right? So a lot of times I would have to trim some off before I would be able to kind of hold the position all the way through. So anyway, just my 2 cents on that. What's up, Shine? Do you take trades off of open, or that's something you didn't take from recently? Yeah, absolutely. I think opening print. So Ramirez, I think that the opening print is absolutely a super valuable spot to watch on the market. So I do take trades off of it. I don't. I will say that there is no level, no indicator, no nothing on the market that would ever tell me trade it just because it's there. Like I will always look for conviction and confluence and other elements for me to want to take a trade ever in general. But to answer your question, just black and white, absolutely. I mean, opening print is a super valuable indicator to trade off of, especially I would say New York. New York is a very powerful one. My TP was those reference off the 15. Leo, sorry, the 15-minute. As in, like, did you close it at 48.14? Is that where you would have been? I'm not too sure about the 15 comment that you made there. Peep and Josh, for NQ, would you be looking for a long over a previous high or a long once reclaiming VWAP? So great question. Let's move on over to NQ again here. So with the way price is moving right now, I'm definitely like, I'm not feeling it right now for longs. And let me just close up some of these boxes so I don't have more real estate screen to play with here. Now, what I would be looking for, because, I mean, I'm going to visually draw this out. I would really want to see how we end up, like when we come back down here, whether we hold this or not. So this is going to be risky, right? Like I definitely would want to long above VWAP. Otherwise, at this point in time, what I would look for is that if price comes back down on the NQ, I would likely watch to see if we can come back down, retest VWAP for failure and continue lower. Or the other scenario that I would be looking at right now in the NQ is that if we break beneath this and say, let's say we come down here and we come back and tag and come back down this way, that would be like the next move that I would kind of look for if I was shorting the NQ. But if I was longing right now, I would probably say that we would have to reclaim and retest. Like I would probably want to see a break and retest back above the VWAP. So something like this. And I essentially would want to long this. So we'll see. I don't know. So sometimes people actually ask me this. They're like, "Hey, Alan, do you ever like send out a watch list and like say, hey, this is what I'm looking for?" I'm very conscious about doing that always, because and I tell this to the students too, because they ask me the same question, because they always get weirded out. Because I think for a lot of cases, when you're in Discord, you'll generally get some sort of like a, hey, if we reclaim above this number, then I think it's gonna be great. Because of my style of trading, I don't just want price to move in certain directions. I actually want to see how candles form in those areas. So that plays a big factor for me. So that's the reason why I think for something as simple as like, would you long? How would you long a VWAP? Would you just look for reclaim? I would love to get above it for sure, but I would love to see that retest to show that the VWAP is still in play for longs. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. I don't know if I rambled a little bit too long there, Josh, but hopefully that makes sense. Session max. Is setting a daily max loss necessary, or should it be a session max loss? How do you set them up? So yes, very subjective question. I think that comes down to comfortability and what you want to do with your trades. So I myself, I don't have a daily loss limit, nor do I have a max loss limit. And the reason why I don't is because I am, like anyone who knows me, I am very, very strict about how I trade. Like and that's the reason why one of the things I kind of was even kind of a hemming and hawing about before I started live streaming was like, I wonder if I'm going to be a boring streamer. And I say this because if I wasn't on stream, I'm very like stoic when I'm trading. Like I'm not the guy that says like, "Oh yeah, let's go, this is going good," right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just that's just not who I am as a personality. So if I'm trading, I'm literally just kind of staring at the screen like this, and whether I'm winning or losing, you'd have no idea by my facial expression, right? So I think for me, I personally don't like the hard daily loss limits or the hard max loss limits. And only reason was because like I have found a lot of times where price has, you know, let's say moved against me, and maybe it moved against me by like $50 or something like that. But because it had a hard daily loss limit, it closed my trade out. But had I just left it and just managed my trade on my own, that trade could have still worked out actually in my favor. So I personally don't like setting them, but I think for a lot of traders out there, like the psychology of being able to walk away is very, very hard for people. So I think in that case and scenario, then if you need it, then absolutely do what makes sense for you. I think my long-winded way of saying that. Jimmy. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You know, as you talk about 50%, Jimmy, I don't trade Fibonacci's, but that's actually the one thing that I really look for when I look at the fibs is the 50% retracement. That's like one of like the probably the important spots that I look for often, because I find that it's helpful. And now I say that I'm not talking about like a 50% fib on like a 5 minute time frame or anything like that. Generally speaking, I'm using that on a larger time frame. So yeah, I don't know if the level component's the same, but I that's kind of my preference on 50% as well. And no worries, Ramirez. I'm glad I answered that question for you. Gold on BS. What happened with gold? Oh, buddy. Okay, so that's pretty solid, right? Like obviously I didn't trade gold, but that's a pretty banger reaction, right? You can see right there, uh, exact spot I said to take profit or trim, and that is exactly where we reversed. So I hope anyone who was in longs took their profit. And if anyone caught the short, man, congrats. Nice work, guys. Nice work. All right, Ron. I know gold be wild, man. Jeez. Okay, Jimmy, that makes sense. Fair enough. All right, guy, you caught the short, or as in like you closed up for profit. Yes, it's live. It's live, man. 8484F. This is live. Oh, nice job. Ron, you sniper. Look at you go, man. Look at you go. Oh, yeah, you are right. I guess that is 50%, eh? You're right. That's pretty solid, Jimmy. That's pretty solid. Cole, because you said that, it's going to go on the biggest bear run you've ever seen. I'm just kidding. Nice, Leo. See, no, that's the thing about trading that I love so much. Like, everyone's looking for the science of trading, but I have found that like you could be trading Fibonacci's, the other could be trading Bollinger Bands, right? I could just be trading pure price action, and somehow we all come to the same conclusion that that's a good profit target or that's a good spot to put a stop loss, right? So that's also a lot of the reason why sometimes when we like I talk with people about strategy, it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of share and care and you take what you can, but I think that sometimes this is where like the detriment comes into play where we strategy hop because we just think that there's a better strategy out there. But sometimes it could just be you just need to understand your strategy, right? Oh, Leo, that dotted line was the 200 EMA, my friend. I know, Cole. When it comes to like price action, I mean, hypothetically, you think long should always make the most sense because you want the market to continue moving upwards. It just sucks. It's hard not to be a bear on any given market, and I think it's because like when you think about like the dopamine that comes with trades, bear market moves just move so much faster. So like that the adrenaline rush of watching price sink is like it's addictive. It's like so addictive to people, and I think that's the reason why people love shorting. What do they say? That you take the stairs up, but you take the elevator down. I think that's what they say. So, but yeah. I was just gonna say 84, 84, bro. I think I already commented you. I said it was live earlier. Unless maybe he can't hear my audio. Oh, that's totally fair, man. That's totally fair. Can you hear me though? 84, 84? I just want to make sure. What's gold doing? So we got. Yeah, I don't see. I wouldn't like. I can't make a decision on gold right now. If you ask me, Alan, do you want a long or do you want a short? I mean, it's anyone's game. I don't like this because we're literally in the middle. We're in the middle of the day, right? Like draw a fib all the way down. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, like look at it. This is the 50% mark right here. Like we're basically in the middle of the day. I have no interest in trading gold like this. I can't. We have to wait for some sort of confirmation here, guys. Let's take a look at the NQ. What are we doing here? All right. Well, we'll see what this does. I kind of drew this out earlier, right? I do want us to hold here. I mean, some people might use 2-minute, like trade 2-minute candles here. And what would that look like for us right now? That would be 18 points. I mean, you could 1R this if you really, really wanted to here. Again, not my cup of tea. I personally wouldn't. I would love to see that break above. I do. Jason. I think anyone, I don't know how long you've been following my journey, or if you've just only caught me on YouTube right now, but everyone who knows me knows that point of the market is like is a high point of interest for me. It's one of them, anyways, at the very least. Yeah, no, 100%, man. Okay, okay, cool. Well, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it nevertheless. Which area? This area right here, Josh? I know there's a few seconds delay, so I'll wait. Okay. Yeah, so the reason why I just marked this is because you can see here, this is the opening Globex area, right? We also have a level up here, up in this spot. So the way that price came back down and retest and held, it's why I'm just marking as a point of interest. And then we also see that we held this earlier before as well. And so we're doing the same thing again here, right? So I would like to see us hold this if we want to. Otherwise, if we fail this, then I would be surprised if we move further down. Again, I don't like taking trades when we're in between spots because it does feel like you're rolling the dice. And one of the things I'll say is like when you're trading and you've doing this long enough, you'll recognize the emotional triggers that make you feel like you're gambling. And so whenever I'm like looking at something and I'm like, oh, I feel gambling vibes coming, I just don't take the trade just because it's protecting me from a lot. Now, if I was just messing around with evals and I'm like, oh, let's just shoot our shot and let's just see what happens, then sure, absolutely. Thanks, man. I actually I built my setup, my whole streaming setup here. If you guys on Instagram, you'll know what I'm talking about. But Um, I invested in the setup last year. Last year? I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Oh my god, like so much time has gone by already. I actually took my trading profits from 2024 and I built this entire setup out. It costed quite a bit actually because I'm actually, you guys can't tell, but I'm actually in my kitchen right now, guys. If I turned my camera that way, you'd see my kitchen. So this entire area used to be like a dining space, but now it's like my command center. So I have like my drawers, my cabinets, and I have like lots of screens, lots of screens. What do I think about the break of higher low or lower high? A retrace back to or near the bottom of the broken leg, then sell or buy. Important must be a point of interest, not random near bottom or top on 4-hour chart. Anything to adjust. So there's a lot to unpack on that question, McCarty. I mean, I think that some of those things that you mentioned there about like the structure of it, I can understand. I don't really trade the 4-hour chart, personally. I don't. So yeah, I think the way that I would just kind of say what I'm looking at right now is if we, because we are ranging right now, if you think about it, in the intraday session, we've ranged. We're within this range right now. And so ideally for me, if we were to take a look at some sort of a setup, I'd love to either take a break and retest somewhere near the lows and the highs of the day of the intraday session, or like sorry, and that's assuming that we want to maybe like long from the bottom or short from the top, or if we think for some odd reason we're going to continue to move lower, then I definitely would want to see a better break and retest of the lows on the day before I think about doing anything. Yeah, I call it a command center because like anybody who has come over to my house will always ask me, what do I do for a living, because why do you have so many screens? John Norton, you probably just hopped in here. I'm basically looking for, like right now you can attempt a long here too, but I personally would like to see us get a nice close above VWAP and to kind of take a break and retest to the higher parts of the chart. Right now, the way that we're forming, I mean, like I can see why longs could is like a potential that one could take, but yeah, that's what I got so far. Yeah, I mean, Jason, that question. In the end of the day, it comes down to you, like, what is it that you look for in a strategy in your setup, right? Like, I have taken big trades where I longed below the opening print because it really depends on why you're taking the trade, right? And so if you watch, I can't remember which stream I talked about this, but in one of the streams I had mentioned, the bar by bar books about trends, ranges, and reversals, right? So I've caught in many reversals in my time where, NQ maybe melted off or maybe had a really large move up, and in that move up or down, I was able to catch the reversal, which essentially is I'm counter trending, right? So and I've found success doing that as well. So I think it comes down to like your style of trading is like if you can find a win rate, you know, longing when you're below the opening print or shorting when you're above. I mean, why not, right? I mean, if that works for you, because I think that there's a lot of other facets. I think people who don't trade the opening print wouldn't even understand it. They wouldn't even be looking at it, right? Just remember that when you guys as traders, when you guys are looking at your chart, all the lines that you see, all the things that you put together, whether the indicator or self-drawn levels or whatever it may be. Again, this is my personal opinion, but in human psychology, I find that we always have this weird sense of control, that we think we can control what's in front of us. And I personally believe that when we draw these lines and we look at indicators, it is our human nature coming out, revealing itself in a way where you want to have a sense of control. So you think that these are things that you need to follow in order to give you that sense of control. So I think that people who don't even know what the opening print is would long into it or short into it or whatever it may be. They wouldn't think of it, right? Because for them, they might have other things that they would consider as sense of control on the market. So just kind of my 2 cents on that. But yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts. Yeah, man, 100%. Control your risk. Yeah, I know that spot so far. We're doing pretty good. We're not out of the weeds yet, guys. We're not out of the weeds. Yeah, so I think like even within range you can trade. Like one of these streams. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight, maybe, but um, you can scalp, right? Like you can within a like a 30 to 40 point range, you could scalp the market, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you can scalp 10 points back and forth over and over and over again, why not, right? Ron G with all these secret codes, man. So Bacardi, I will say that in terms of setup, as far as setups go for me, I really like my double bottoms and my double tops. And now, so it really depends here too when you ask this question, because I have a setup for range trades. I have a setup for trend trades. I have a setup for reversal trades. It kind of really depends on what the market's doing, and where we are in the chart, right? You know, when we're trading at all-time highs, we're obviously gonna have a little bit of a different perspective to how we view things. I mean, I already had like 3 students reach out to me literally over the weekend and say, "Hey, Alan, we're in all-time highs now. What do I do? Do I just do I still be super bullish and try to long this, or do I have the mentality of let's try to reverse this because we think we can?" So I don't know. Hard to say. Ron, man, you're having too much fun with this, eh? Yeah, Brandon. I was literally just talking to someone about that today about the anchored VWAP. I don't know how to trade the anchored VWAP because I've never used it before, but I've heard some really clean strategies with that as well. I mean, if you guys have never seen Jake's Instagram post on buy the dip with the what is it? The Interstellar. That's hilarious. That was a hilarious reel. Just gonna look here. Platinum still doing what Platinum does with these weird ass wicks. Yeah, man. That was like a banger reel. That thing literally went viral. He nailed it with that one. Let's see how we close this candle here. So we'll close off the hourly candle for us as well. All right, for those who just kind of joined, guys, if this is your first time, definitely drop a like and subscribe. 10 hours a day, man, 365. We are doing this. You guys want to talk trading, you guys want to learn, you guys want to just chat, whatever you guys may be, definitely drop a like and subscribe. We'll do a giveaway in the next 10 minutes here as well. We'll be giving away a 50K account. I do use the higher time frames. I don't want you to think I don't. I absolutely use them. I just the way that I use it in conjunction, I just look at it differently, right? Like I'm not gonna like if I've coming into the market, I have a preconception of potentially what I'm looking for already. And so if I have that already and we're respecting key areas, I'm not going to continue to look at the 4 hour or whatever to make a decision. So that's just essentially what I'm referring to when I say that. Oh, Jimmy, is the giveaway the thing that's keeping you awake? Maybe I have to keep it up for another hour then. I'm just kidding. I won't do that to you, man. We'll do the giveaway in 10 minutes though. 10 minutes. Hey, Moneybag Finance. No, not me specifically. So Project 365. So Jake Ricci has essentially assembled the Avengers. So there's me, there's Ron, there's Mitch, and there's Christian. So there's 5 of us. So we stream throughout the entire day. So I have this session right here between 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time till midnight. But again, I actually might move this time slot a little later as I don't even know that. I mean, it's crazy for me to even say that because that's actually making it worse for me. But I'm just looking for like the best price action. And sometimes I just think that like if I do 11 to 1 instead of 10 to 12, I think there might just be more price actions to trade, right? So yeah. What's up? What's up? Hey, Chels. You know what? It's funny you say that, Brandon, then you ask that question. But honestly, and I actually talk about this a lot with the students as well, any type of injection of volume, such as a tweet from Trump or anything else, in the end of the day, the way I look at it is that like price in those key areas will still be respected. Like I have found that when price moves aggressively up or aggressively down, the where it halts or where it pulls back is still respecting key spots in the market. So I think it's still valuable. I don't think you should ever throw price action or not take it seriously just because of that. But yeah, just my 2 cents on that. Ron, are you going to run the giveaway for me? Is that why you're asking? Beaker, I'd like to think that I'm Iron Man, and I'm not because of the richness or the Playboy aspect of it, but I love kind of what the story arc of what Iron Man represents, and that's the whole aspect of adaptability and progressively being better battle after battle. So for me, that's life, right? So I'm in and Moneybag. I'm in the West Coast, Pacific Standard Time. So for me right now, it's 11:03 p.m. Do we think we'll fill the gap on New York? Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. I think what like if it does what it did the other day, it probably will fill the gap between the opening of London all the way till New York Open. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, man. Oh. Hey, what's up, Alex Guzman? So for me, I'm in an assortment. So I'm a business consultant. So I work with restaurants. I still call myself a consultant, but any of the restaurants that I would work with, I work with, right? So consultant may be the title I've given myself, but anybody that I work with, I'm directly involved with. So a lot of any clients that I work with will actually treat me more of a business partner than I am a consultant because I am so involved with it. Because I have a strong restaurant background. I used to work for a restaurant brand, like one of the global biggest brands in the world. So I love what it represents, and for me, it's just a matter of being able to take it back and help kind of small business, right? So I spend a lot of time in that arena. So whether it's like Asian cuisine or Western cuisine or Italian, doesn't really matter. Restaurant food is food. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I love food. Like literally, you want to ask me why I trade? It's so I can travel the world with my family and eat all the food that exists in the world. Like that's literally the goals for us. No materialistic things. Nothing about the materialistic things. It's all about eating and the experience of it all. All right, Ron. I'll let you know. I'll do it in 6. I'll give you a heads up in 6 minutes, Ron, on that giveaway. Sup. So that was nice, right? So guys, earlier I kind of mentioned this comment on NQ, right? I said that you could take this if you really wanted to bounce off this channel. I personally didn't want to, but it was a very valid long potential. What I'd like to see now, as you can kind of see from my arrow earlier, I'd like to see us break and retest. Very likely kind of maybe come up here, come back down, take a retest, and then long from here. That's what I would like to see. But if anyone who caught the long from the earlier entry here, kudos to you guys, because you would have caught at least a nice 18, 20 points already. Well, sorry, way more than that now. 30 points. 30 points already. Hey, glad to have you here, Moneybag. You know, honestly, I've always lived in PST, so I don't know, Leo. I've actually lived on this side, but then I've also when I travel, I've been in the Asia time zone. So a lot of people know, and I talked about this a few times, but some of my greatest success actually when I was trading was actually when I was traveling. So when I was in Taiwan or Singapore or Hong Kong, like when I was in those places, I had like easily six-figure payout months. Like it wasn't even like, oh, I just cussed what made the cusp of six figures. Like it was like we're talking like 150, 200K. Like it was solid payouts when I was out there. And I think it has to do with it is the time zone, right? Like you're awake and active during periods where no, naturally if I was here, I would be inactive, right? So I think every year also has its opportunities, right? Like I would say last year, London had a lot of good follow through. Like there were like I don't want to say easy because easy is probably never a good word to use in trading, but there were some really clean 60 point, 80 point trades that set up over London last year, and I know that just because I traded a lot of them. So, um, yeah, no preference to be honest. I don't know if PST or EST is better. Hey, you're Christian's cousin. That's awesome, dude. Well, you got high expectations for yourself now. Then, if that's the case, I might be MST in the future, man. I might be MST in the future too. Who knows? It depends on how you define trading full time, my friend. And I I make that comment because like, do I look at the market every single day? Yes. Do I take trades almost every single day? Yes. But am I literally watching the market? Like, am I trading in front of my screen 8 hours or whatever? No, I don't. I'm an entrepreneur. I work with restaurants and all that. So I would never be able to like sit in front of my screen. Like, I think this is where Project 3665 is amazing because we get to split up our time, right? Like we each kind of dominate a zone and we kind of play within it. And I think that's amazing for us, but that's amazing for you guys as well, right? Because you guys get to tune in and watch literally 10 hours of the day, right? Like that's pretty awesome. Hey, you caught the long money bag. Which long are you talking about? You talking about the long from just now, or are you talking about like literally from the earlier when we opened? I'm curious. Jake is Captain America. Thor is Ron. Christian is Spider Man. Oh, interesting. Okay. Good to know, Ron. In 2 minutes, we'll run it. Yeah, Brandon. Honestly, I know people like struggle to understand why we like Asia, and I'm gonna say we because you obviously like it too. Um, Majority of my success in 2025 was driven from Asia trades. Actually, it was not from any other time zone or session. Sorry. I remember because we were in quarter four of last year around like October or September. I had I had already done so much on the Asia session, and I had achieved a lot of my milestones. I've exceeded them, if anything, and that's actually when I started trading options again last year because I was like, you know what? More often than not, by the time I get to the New York session, I don't even have any props to trade with anymore because I've done everything I needed to. So I started trading options as a form of still getting in on the action without trading futures. So yeah. Anyways, I mean, I agree, man. I'm 100% on the same page as you. The Asia session's pretty banger. Break and retest. I like the 2 minute, 5 minute. I'd be okay with that. And no problem, Jason. Money bag. That's why you're money bag, man. Killer move. Yeah, man. I mean, if you're in a long, that's awesome. Definitely don't fall asleep with your stop loss not being moved. I have done that before. A shitty feeling to wake up to, I'll tell you that. So Brandon, I think there's a lot of good videos on this already online, but so personally for me, I'll give you an example here actually, just because like, and then we'll do the giveaway. So let's just use the most recent New York session for example. Generally for me, when I trade the New York session, I don't trade the first 30 minutes. I like to wait like at least 15 minutes. But if I can wait for 30 because maybe price isn't looking good, then I'll wait for 30 minutes. But let's just say right here, right? if you were trading the New York session recently and we had this kind of back and forth consolidation, and let's just say you like this 2-minute bounce off the New York opening print, okay? If you had that and you wanted to take longs, and let's just say you had your stop loss, I don't know, down here, maybe 50 points, give or take, right? When you pick your contract size, now this is completely subjective and up to you, right? Because I think everyone has their own perspective on this. Like, I'll tell you right now, I actually don't pay too much attention, and people who are like professional options trader or who listen to me say this is probably going to be like, oh my god, you don't know what you're doing, because I don't look at all of the things on all the Greeks, and the reason why I don't is because I don't want to look at too many things that might slow me down from executing. So a lot of times what happens is that, like, if price is here, and so I would have to reference QQQ, I guess, in this case, because, give me a second here. I have to reference QQQ because I don't actually know what the price would have been at that moment. So it would have been right here. So let's just say price was $645.95. So we can round up, say 646. If I were to enter here, an in the money contract would be 646. And so for me, if I were to go out of the money with my options trade, I would not go farther out than $2. $2 is as far as it would ever go. And so that essentially means that if I'm going to long from right here at 646, I wouldn't buy a contract further out of the money than 648, which would be up here. And then, so for me, if I were to look at that, I would also be thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I'm looking for price to move in that direction. So chances are, if I long from here to there, this is probably going to be a 100% options trade, very likely. Now, again, there's so many variables. So take my comment to a grain of salt because I'm obviously using an example. But I'll generally look for a $2 out of the money as far as it will ever go. And it's just a rule of thumb for me. I find that if I go too far out, I've been killed by the Greeks. If I'm too close, then the contracts end up being too expensive. So generally, I use 0-date expirations for my options trades. But depending on my thesis and my perspective on the trade, the furthest I will go out will be next date expiration. So I'll never go further out than 1 day. 1 day is as far as I go. That's just kind of giving you a rundown. And so stop loss would be kind of the same thing. Like, stop loss wise, you have to be sized enough where you're sizing your stop loss based on the price action, not your P&L. And I'm saying that just because if you're doing it on your P&L, it's just too inconsistent, because, like, unless you have a way of managing your P&L via price action and contracts, then sure. But for me, it's like, I can never say, like, oh, I want to risk 20% of my position, because I don't know if 20% of my position is where my stop loss is going to be. So that's where I'm a little bit more nimble with options trading in that regard. So I'll generally will hold my position if I will hold my position if I've not hit my stop loss area or not. That's also the reason why I wait for 30 minutes as well, Brandon, is because if you take contract right out of the gates, there's a lot of volatility in those contracts, which means that it can very likely work against you very, very fast. I know people like it because sometimes it can work in your favor very, very fast, but it's, again, not my cup of tea. I like the 30-minute wait because it gives me a much better understanding of the price of those contracts a little bit better. That's my long-winded way of answering your question. Options can be the greatest life changer in trading for you, and it can be the one that kills you the fastest. So just be very careful about trading with options, because it is crazy. Like, I've had monster days on options, but I've also had days where I'm just like, what the heck did I just do, right? Like, because just the amount of money you can lose on options is quite big, to be honest, right? No, I don't use order flow or heat map, TPO. I don't use any of that stuff, actually. No. Nothing against it, by the way. I know a lot of successful traders who use them. I personally have no idea what to do with them. And I don't like too many distractions either. So, and no problem, Brandon. I think it's that time, man. I think it's that time to do a giveaway. But before we do that, I would like every single person on the stream to drop a like. I want every single person on the stream to drop a like. I am not starting this giveaway until I get at least over 120 likes. And I'm saying that because there are over 150 of you guys here right now. There's no reason why there's less likes. Come on, gang. Come on, gang. Ramp it up. I'm gonna basically, well, I guess now we have a bot. So for those who are asking, how do we enter? You're just by being here, you're gonna be part of it, right? So just hang tight for now. I want to see if we can get to 120 likes. We're at 100 likes almost. We're at 99. We're at 104 likes now. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Come on. 104 likes. I have 50 other of you guys on the stream that have not liked the video yet. Come on, gang. Come on, gang. I am dropping. Like, if you're tuning in for the first time, I am dropping free knowledge, guys. Free knowledge. So, and you know, the crazy thing is that I'm not just a trader. I am a business person, right? So you guys might even have questions about business unrelated to trading. More than happy to banter about that as well. So you just got to be here, guys. Anyone who's on the stream, as long as you're here, we're gonna get this. I think we're gonna get the bot. Ron, is that how it works? So because normally we obviously tell people to put W's in the chat or whatever, right? Ron, how does the bot work? How does it select its giveaway? I'm curious now. Of course, we're trying something different right now compared to how I normally run these. We're at 113 likes, guys. 7 more likes. 7 more likes. Thumbs up on the video. Thumbs up on the video. Great question, guys. Thumbs up on the video. Yeah, I've been in the business industry for a long time. Like restaurant business wise, I've been in it for over. I know I sound so old when I say this, but I've been in it for 2 decades. So yeah, Canada, it does have different tax laws. I actually I run them through my consulting business as well because it's already part of what I got. We're at 119 likes, gang. 119. Come on, guys. 119. Which of you guys haven't pressed that button yet? I feel like I'm holding you guys for ransom here. All right. All right. Right on. Let's go. Okay. All right, Ron G, my man. I need your help now. Let's test this bot out. How does this work? Okay, I'm going to check the stream chat. Okay, give me 1 second here. Okay. I'm just connecting with Ron here for a second. So it sounds like we're going to get everyone to comment enter. I think this is what we're going to do. Yeah, please don't spam the chat, guys. Do not spam the chat yet. What did I just say? What did I just say, guys? This is not a good start. Guys, come on. Gang, you're not helping me out, brother. You guys keep spamming this thing. We won't be able to do it. Okay? Don't stress this bot out. Okay, so you typed it in. All right, so Ron. Hold on. I'm talking to Ron right now. Oh, it's working, I think. All right, type in exclamation mark and then enter, guys. Exclamation mark, enter. Exclamation mark, enter. Okay, guys? That's what you got to type in the chat. Exclamation mark, enter. I'm going to keep repeating myself with no spaces, okay? No spaces. Exclamation mark, enter with no spaces. Okay. If you guys already dropped it, I think you guys are good for now. Ron, we have to wait a few more minutes before it registers. Is that how it's going to work? Thanks for bearing with us, by the way, guys. I've never used this bot before, so it's like we're learning how to do the giveaway with this thing. Oh, got it. All right, I think we're going to close up the giveaway, I think, in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, close it, Ranji. Everyone stop spamming now. Stop spamming. Stop spamming. Okay, there you go. Oh, the bot actually says it too. That's cool. All right, at 40 Oz, you won. Hey, let's go. You got a 50K eval. So Ron, are they going to reach out to me still the same way, or how does that work? Okay, sounds good. All right. So my man, there you go. That's my Instagram, brother. DM me on Instagram. DM me on Instagram, and then after the stream, I will send you the code. Congratulations, man. So far on the stream, what we've got is that when we first started the day, we had our short opportunity up here. We had our lower high short opportunity over here. We obviously have our long opportunity, as I mentioned. If you wanted to be aggressive, you could have taken it off that channel I mentioned earlier. But for me, I'm obviously looking for a break and retest of VWAP, right? And then on gold, I mentioned the comment. We had Leo here, my man here. We caught a nice long off the 806 level. I made the comment about taking profit here or closing, depending on obviously what kind of position you had, and obviously was very much the right call because literally to the damn wick, we had a rejection all the way back down. So, and who caught the inverse of that setup, obviously very congratulations. So those are so far the call outs and the trade setups that we had as our opportunity thus far on the market today. We still have about 36 minutes left to the session, the main part of the stream. But as always, I am going to stream 10, 15 minutes over into the London Open just to see if there's anything good that can set up for us. You can see here why the VWAP is so important right now as well, right? Because we are actually holding. You can see all of our candles are holding VWAP right now. But again, I don't trade pause consolidations. So I personally would not just long just because we're holding here. I want a break and retest. So I would want us to go higher, come back down, test it for strength, and then we continue going. VWAP is this solid line here. Right, guy. Yes, yes. Ron G, as always, thanks for being here, brother. Good luck tomorrow on your stream as well. I don't use other indexes as confluence, actually. Not really my style of trading, but I know that people who generally trade the NQ will use ES as its confluence. Catch you later, right, guy? Yeah, whenever I see consolidation like this at VWAP, I would consider it as indecision. Just like for the price action traders, right? What you're really wanting to see here is you're looking for price to make a decision, and when it makes its decision, we need to see it reaffirm its decision, right? That's essentially what we're looking for. What other questions you guys got for me, man? Remember, you guys can ask anything, man. You want to talk about trading? Go ahead. You want to talk about business? Go ahead. I may not be in the US, but in the end of the day, business is business, man. Cash flow, revenue, it's all the same to me. Yeah, I mean, price reclaiming back above VWAP simply means buyers have reclaimed control as far as the average of the overall session, but it doesn't actually mean anything to me, right? Because when I look at price, I don't want price to just take over. I need price to reassure me that it's not a fake out. I think that there's again like I know that people who enjoy taking breakout trades. I don't like taking breakout trades because I don't. I find that they fail more often than they work, which is the reason why I prefer. I much prefer the retest. See, and that's I think that's even to Buljeet's point. I don't trade MNQ, but apparently on MNQ we're below VWAP. Yeah, and that's true. We are. So that's very more reason why it's confusing. What kind of business you want to get into, Moneybag? You looking to like do bricks and mortar, e-commerce, retail? What are you thinking, man? I don't. I don't. But I find that if you're swing trading, it's not too different, to be honest. I find that if you're swing trading, what you're essentially looking at is you're looking at bar by bar the same way, but you're just looking at a larger time frame. But your thesis that the trades would essentially be the same, and you obviously they would have to have the tolerance to be able to hold for that longer move. Are you from the U.S., Moneybag? I think that like when it comes to like real estate flipping and what have you, it can be a little bit more challenging right these days depending on where you are. And I say that because like cost of builds have gone up a lot. I don't know how it's been like in the U.S., but I know that there's been a lot of Canadian real estate developers who have actually filed for bankruptcy. Some of them have actually bailed on projects that they were planning on doing just because builds have become so expensive. Um, so that becomes quite difficult, right? But honestly, generally, just in general for real estate, though, I think the U.S. you guys have much more of an advantage, though, because I find that you can buy dwellings and like add more rooms to them or whatever it may be. Like the concept of like buying a detached home and breaking it down and turning it into like a triplex or a quadplex or whatever. I find that that's much more possible in the U.S. compared to here where I am in Canada. Hey, Anchor, gosh, I think that's how you pronounce the name. I think that full-time career depends on the person, man. I personally would never just trade full-time. I don't actually agree with anyone doing it personally. Like, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying mentally it's hard, right? Like I think that if your living depends on trading always, that's very difficult. At least mentals for me. I think it's important that you have some sort of a stream of income coming elsewhere as well in order for you to manage your mentals better on trading. So like for me, that's why I always say no matter how successful I am, I think knowing that income is coming in somewhere else is always going to be far more valuable than just simply trading by itself. Like I don't think I could ever do that. I get that, personal opinion. Who knows? Maybe I change my mind in the future, but it's also like for me, I also like what I do, right? I think whatever you're doing, your profession is important. I think a lot of people are trying to escape the 9 to 5, whereas for me, the 9 to 5 isn't actually demoralizing. I actually enjoy it. So, well, I guess sorry, I shouldn't say 9 to 5 because mine's not a 9 to 5. For me, it's business, so it's 24/7. But still, not so sure what to start, but something involving marketing via socials. What do you think? Looking for a service business. I think service. I mean, right now with AI, it really kind of depends on what kind of model of business you're getting into. Um, I think there will always be value in any kind of service that you can provide in the industry. When it comes to like marketing, I think that's very hard. I think that's very hard. There's a lot of people trying to sell people on automation and like I can't remember what the terminology is, but they're trying to sell you on like this automation of marketing online. I don't know how I feel about that to be perfectly honest. Like generally speaking, most people who are in the tech industry are migrating in a direction where you want to have less manpower, so to speak, so less human involvement because it's cheaper, so to speak, because human capital is expensive. But for me, because I like the restaurant industry, I could not imagine a world without that. Now, there's also a lot of AI robotics that are being built for assembly lines and cloud kitchens and restaurants and those kind of things. But I personally think that in this arena, it's important for us to still have the human involvement, right, for the experience of it all. So it really depends. I'd be very curious what kind of servicing you're looking into. It's not just on Tradeovate, Ozair. I find that NQ and MNQ have always been slightly different, and I don't actually know the answer to that one. I have no idea why that is. I don't trade the MNQ. I trade only NQ, so I don't even look at it. But yeah, I have no idea why it's different. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it depends on how big your goals are, Moneybag. Like I look at it this way: is that because you're in the U.S. and this is like good for people who live in the UK as well, who have the currency of like the pound. If you ever live in an economy where your currency is the more dominant currency globally, having the ability to build any kind of business that generates residual or just perpetual cash flow is always going to be beneficial because with a global perspective that also means that you have the ability to then live in other countries, right? And so like if you get, let's say for hypothetical here, right, let's just say you can net $2,000 USD every month from rental. That's it, net, after all bills, all that. You might think in the US you're like, what am I going to do with 2,000? That's not enough. That's not enough for me to enjoy life and whatever that may be. But it depends on what part of the world you're in, right? Like if you were in like parts of Asia, I mean, $2,000 USD can go a long way. Like I actually know a person who is in like China and Vietnam, and where for them $2,000 USD you can live very comfortably actually in those places. So I think that when you're like starting a business, there's so much questions to be asked there. It's kind of like your business plan isn't just even about like the vision or the goals for your business. It's also about the overarching aspect of what you're trying to achieve with that business. Because some people build businesses for the sole purpose of selling them. Some people build businesses so that they can use it to generate cash flow, so that cash flow can contribute to like the other aspect or the true end game for them. So it really depends. It's quite a well-rounded question, of course. Nice, Brandon. So are you asking if this is a failed breakout? I think trading aggressive and passive is honestly going to come down to your appetite, right? I personally think that like whenever we're trading, your risk can't be something where if you lost it, it would affect your mentals and how you live your day to day life, right? Like that's why I think that prop accounts have been so helpful in a lot of cases because in the end of the day, yes, it can get out of hand really fast, but I mean, $100 prop account that you could trade over the course of time, be successful with, and actually be able to get into a payout phase, um, that's worth it. The R multiple is worth it, right? But if you're trading your own capital, that could be a very different story. That might not be the case for you, right? So I think that For me, I don't do leaps. I don't do those kind of things. Like if we're talking about like long-term investment portfolios, then yeah, I have stocks, I have dividend stocks, I have like ETFs. Those are things that I kind of buy and hold long term. But as far as like day trading wise goes, right? Like I think today, if you're not trading props, I think you're missing out because like just props just make too much sense. Again, right? Obviously, different parts of the world it might be a little bit different, but yeah, props are just low cost, high return. Actually, one of the things I actually did a free webinar on this like a couple months ago, talking about business, and we talked about things like SMART goals, quadrant of effort, SWOT analysis, and like and this for business. But in trading, it's kind of the same thing. When you think about the quadrant of effort, I look at prop firms as low effort, high return, or high effort, high return. But either way, it's more worth it than trading your own capital because your own capital is, again, if you don't know what you're doing, you're literally just burning it away. And I'm speaking from experience because when I first started trading, I was trading small caps and options, and I was burning a lot actually on the market in the early days because I didn't know what I was doing, right? So I mean, I will never say if I could turn the clock back I'd do it differently because I think everything that I went through also kind of taught me what I need to know today, and why I have the thick skin that I have to trade the markets. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah, man, 40 Oz, 100%, man. I just came back from a trip from China. I actually went to visit where my mom grew up, and I was humbled by the way people live there because, like, I think it makes you really check yourself a little bit about the life you live here today. I think we are constantly consumed by what social media tells us is considered success and all that other stuff. There was a time in my life where I was like, yeah, man, I want a Ferrari, I want a Lamborghini, I want blah 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 blah. I don't care. I could have bought that Lamborghini years ago, and I still wouldn't buy it, and because it's just not my thing. I said this in the other streams before too. I literally was thinking to myself like, oh, I had such a strong 6 7 figure year last year. Maybe I should actually finally go treat myself and buy a nice car. I walked into Aston Martin, I walked into Porsche, and as I'm talking to the sales guy, I'm like looking at him like, man, I don't really want to do this. Like this doesn't make sense to me. Again, to each their own. I think to someone that might be super valuable, but to me, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather travel the world with my family, with my loved ones, and eat good food. Like I think just I posted this before too, like 3 months ago or so. Me and my group of my loved ones in my life, we went to Disneyland, and we just covered it all together in one cost, right? Like I didn't look for anyone to pay. I covered the flights, covered the meals, covered the hotels, everything. We just went to Disneyland for a whole week and we just hung out, right? Like that was much more enjoyable for me. That is more important to me than driving a really nice car for me. I mean, I'm a dad. I have 2 kids. I don't really care. I'm not looking for that kind of attention, if that makes sense, right? Like family values are important to me. So that for me is far more important than those other things. So yes, sorry. I know I ramble when I get passionate about stuff, but to your point about people live different lives, I respect it for everyone who wants to do what they do. But I look at my mentor and I think the same thing, like my life mentor, he's been retired for like 6 or 7 years. He's worth tens of millions, but you would never guess it if you saw him. You would just think like he's just a Joe Schmo dude on the street, nothing important. Whereas no non-branded stuff, right? Like nothing. And frugal as heck too, right? So I mean, I don't know if I really want to be super that frugal, but at the very least for me though, I'm not looking for the lavish life, right? So everyone has their own thing. 2026 options trading wise, I'm at 100. Sorry. 100 grand in options, and in terms of prop firms about a quarter million. If I actually post it, I don't post it publicly on social media, but it's on my trader stats. That's where like my all the receipts for all the transactions that I got paid out via Wise or Rise or whatever, all those like payment platforms. That's where it's all shown there. I don't like to talk about payouts and stuff like that because I always find that when I'm like posting payouts and all that type of stuff, I feel like it draws a wrong attention, and I think then people just automatically assume things as well. That's not important to me. My students will know how much I make because I share that very transparently to them, but I don't publicly post it all too much. Plus, there's a lot of people who like in your life, and you guys probably will know what I mean by that. If you just randomly think about it, if you just started posting how much money you were making in the market, think about some of the people in your life and how they would treat you differently, right? So I don't know. I like to keep on the down low. I'm not a flashy dude. Yeah, 100% money bag. I agree. A lot of opportunities out there, man. Ozar, that's amazing. Congratulations. Make sure you stay disciplined with that, right? And I'm only saying that because I see this a lot of times where sometimes one of the biggest harms that a trader can have in their trading career is early success. Because what happens is early success blinds them from what truly is required from a strategy, structure, and all that perspective. And they end up degen and blowing it. So Ozer, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If you are funded already and you manage to get a 1K locked in already on the account, yeah, just make sure you stay disciplined. Don't fall victim to those emotions and chase trades and what have you. Stick to your plan, stick to your strategy, right? Base hits, do whatever you gotta do, whatever makes sense to you. But your trading rules might tell you 5 days to pay out, 7 days to pay out. Don't worry about that. Even if you need 10 days to get paid out, 15 days to pay out, doesn't matter, man. Like, take your time. Don't let those arbitrary things get the best of you, because it will encourage you to do the wrong things, and you will then pay the price of that, right? So would I consider this a test? Not really. It's not really a clean break and retest, to be honest. Who did I learn from in terms of trading or business? Sorry, I know sometimes the chat kind of log comes in a little bit delayed, so yeah, options. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, man. I think there's a lot of free information out there to learn about options. It's expensive though. My recommendation for anyone who trades options is definitely use one contract only in the beginning. Don't oversize yourself too much, because you can, as addictive as it is to win, you can lose really really fast on options. So, Damien, great question. When it comes to restaurant industry, revenue means absolutely nothing to me. I want you to think about it this way. Revenue speaks to market share, essentially, right? It's the market share interest of that business. But how successful that business is in the end of the day comes down to cash flow. So the way that that business acquires, so what is the customer acquisition cost? What is your gross profit? So your food costs, paper costs, what are your labor costs? Those things that I just named right there are some of the most important things that you need to know about that business before you can even push forward. Because if those things are out of hand, it doesn't matter. That restaurant could be generating $4 million in revenue, and you could literally be overpaying for a restaurant because it doesn't generate enough cash flow for you. So there's a lot to it than that, though. I know I kind of like gave you a very summary answer, Damien, but that's like my early 2 cents to that question. As far as trading goes, so I started learning. Actually, the first trader I saw 5 years ago was Stock Market Wolf. And so I joined his Discord. I'm actually a lifetime member of his Discord. Well, I guess he doesn't have Discord anymore, but I'm a lifetime member in his group. I did that with small caps for a little while, and that's actually where I met Jake as well. Jake Ritchie, which is Rake Trades, the person who runs this network. And so I took his mastermind back in 2023, and so I learned options and how to retrade his system at that time. And then as I continued to trade more and more and more, I spent the years to follow after that refining my system to what makes sense for me, because I think that, like, I don't think everyone can just trade someone else's system. Like, some people can, but for me, I think I had to refine it to make sure that it worked for me best. So I refined it, and I would say 2025 was kind of like, which is last year, was kind of my big breakout year. If I were to break down the years, first couple of years were kind of like break even, a little bit of profit, right? And then 2024 was one of my stronger years, which is why I had the confidence to move from options to futures, because I'm like, you know what, a chart's a chart. So if I could trade options, I should be able to trade futures too. And then 2025 was like my big massive year where I had like high six figures on props, but if you combined it with my options, then it was basically like a 7-figure year. So yeah. The reason why I don't consider this a break and retest is because I would like to see price move at least further up and then come back down. Like, if I look at this right now, we're still kind of like barcoding. Like, this is still very much barcoding to me. If you guys know what I mean, right? You look at the candles and the bars, we're sticking together. Like, I'd like to see us detach from this area, which is why I moved my spot up here. I would like for price to come up here into this area and then come back down and retest. We're also moving into the London Open right now, so we got to be careful about that. 100%, Azheng. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, shorts look more good to me right now than longs. But again, we're on VWAP right now, right? So it's risky to take a short right now. Absolutely, Sahil. So one of the things I talk a lot about in terms of payouts is I actually talk about expense ratios. So expense ratio wise, so 2025, I had a 30% expense ratio in terms of props. And this year, I would say I'm averaging probably between 10% this year, so a lot better, 10 to 15%. And so just so you guys know, when I say expense ratio, it just means like for every like $100 you make, then you're spending this much. So like for me, if I'm saying I have a 10% expense ratio, it means but for every $100 I get paid out, I'm spending $10 to make that $100. It's kind of similar to how we talk about R multiple, right? Depends. I don't know what advice. I mean, for swing trading wise, I would say that if you are swing trading, you're definitely reading bars between the daily and 4 hour and hourly time frame. I think looking at anything smaller than that makes no sense for swing trading. Generally speaking, if you're swing trading, you should never swing trade during ranging markets. Wait for trending markets to take place before you swing trade, because otherwise you just get chopped up. So that would be my kind of high Cole's notes for you, Kale Fowler, when it comes to swing trading. I do have my own YouTube channel, but I'm not like I'm. People just getting to know me now. I am. I wasn't even really on social media a couple years ago, so I don't. I have them, but I don't use them as much as I probably should. But I'll post my YouTube here so you guys can see it. Um, just if you guys want to subscribe there, you'll see all the things I posted in the past. I talked about like psychology stuff, journaling stuff, payouts, perspective. Like I don't know. I'm not a big content creator. Like I don't even I think I kind of like a chuckle when I say content creating because I don't know what I'm doing. Like you'll see my stuff; they're very like low tech, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of just sharing my opinion on things and sharing my day to day. Essentially, is what I'm doing there. So, do I consider QQQ levels when looking at NQ? Um, uh, Not too much. I do have QQQ mark just because I trade options. I kind of look at both, but I think the only time that like the big things that matter to me on QQQ is if like we're talking about like gap ups or like gap downs, right? Like that's probably where I would look at it. Expense ratios in restaurants. So, Eric, I don't know if this rule applies to everywhere. So, generally, if you are running a restaurant business, you would ideally want 70% gross profit. That's a healthy business. If you can achieve more than anything north of 70% gross profit, then you're in a very good spot. And then I think from a labor perspective, that's very subjective. So depending on where you are in the world, some places have higher salary pay caps and whatever, so that's going to affect that number greatly. I would say if you're in most restaurants in most cases, you should ideally want to keep your labor combined around like between 20 to 22%. But I understand in some states or some parts of the world that's not feasible because it's just so expensive. So it I guess it really depends. I don't know if that answers your question, Eric. I know it's kind of hard because sometimes like even when I'm working with a client, right? Like I have to like see their business. Like, okay, what type of restaurant are you? Do you sell noodles? Do you sell rice? Do you sell burgers and steaks? Like, what do you sell, right? It's because that really will define that as well. Like restaurants are generally low margin businesses already, so depending on what you're selling, it kind of depends that, right? So, uh, Mob X, you probably missed this part of the stream when I made this comment. Where I am in Vancouver, Canada, most prop actually don't allow me to move live. So a lot of times I just get my sim payout caps and then I just move on to another prop firm. One of the things I probably will start doing this year, potentially, and I say potentially because it really depends on where I am at in my life. I might just do a self-funded account and kind of go from there. But honestly, the tax benefits to prop trading is much more beneficial to me, which is reason why I really much value prop trading. Yeah, Beaker. So yeah, if you ran 30 to 35% in wages in Canada, you wouldn't buy that business. That business would go under. Like that, a business that runs wages at 30% would die. That you could not survive in that. Yeah, like on the hourly 100%, right? We retested basically near the opening of the prior hourly bar, and we're kind of moving our way back down here again. Every prop firm has different caps. On average, what I've seen is $50,000 to $100,000 is the payout cap. No, once you're capped out, you're done. You can't go back to them unless the prop firm actually allows you to go back. Then yeah, it doesn't exist. So Beaker, in terms of your comment about living wages, I get obviously that I think that's very subjective in terms of what is considered living wages, and I only say that for two examples. So like in the comparison that I can use, so in Canada where I am in Vancouver, uh, real estate cost of goods, gas, everything is super expensive, and although a minimum wage is slowly going up higher and higher and higher, it's still not considered a living wage, right? If I were to go to a province over though, which is like Alberta, if I took that exact same wage in Vancouver and moved it to Alberta, it would be considered a living wage in Alberta. It wouldn't be considered a living wage here, but it'd be considered a living wage there because the expense to things is completely different. Perspective, the home that I have right now would cost you 1.6 to 1.8 million to buy. And it's not a fancy house, by the way, guys. But if I were to move to Alberta, this exact same home would only cost you $500,000. So it's literally 66% cheaper than the home I live in just by moving a province over. And so for the people who live in the US, that's just like moving from a state to another state, essentially, is what that is. So the term living wage is very subjective, to be honest, because it really, again, it depends. If your living wage is super high in a business, then your gross profits has to be significantly higher to make up for the fact that your wages are so high. Because yeah, it just, as a restaurant, cash flow makes no sense. It's the math doesn't add up. Like there's no way you can actually make money if you're paying that high. Yeah, Brandon, I don't know about that, man. I think that's illegal, my friend. I'd get screwed for that one. But yes, hypothetically, to that point, yes, the others could. John White. I've heard a lot about that. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to it. I think that there's a lot of things happening in our country right now that are very concerning. So I don't know where we're gonna head with that, but yeah, I think that it makes sense. If our like Canada is actually one of the most resource rich countries in the entire world. I just think that it's being managed very poorly, right? So I think that's where it can be tough sometimes. Yeah, I don't want to go into the politics too much though. But are you from Alberta, John White? I stream 5 days a week, Frankie. So we just started doing this last week. Last week was the first week for us, so this is week number 2. I basically, because this is the session slot that I have. I'm from Sunday to Thursday basically for London session, pre-London session. Yeah, Romani. I'm just gonna smile to your comment. Oh, you're from the U.S., John. Gotcha. We're 5 minutes away from the London Open here, and we're just hovering in this area. Like to see some volume here. Let's see what we do here. If this hourly closes like this, there's two ways you can look at this, right? We can look for a potential 3-bar play to the downside, or like I said, this is where that hold, the break and retest hold comes in. I would like for us to still long here, so we'll see. Let's see what the market does here. I think that in terms of money bag, in terms of where your position is, it depends on where your profit target is, what your risk was. You don't want to take negative R trades because it's going to affect you in the long run. And your thesis in the end of the day, right? If your thesis is still intact, hold the trade. Yeah, I mean, all the oil and everything is there, right? Like trades, Alberta has the best income to living costs ratio. I don't know if they still do now, but they did for many years. Because when I was in my corporate job back then, I used to actually travel across the country for work. So I was exposed to a lot of different markets. That's a big volume spike up. So this is a pretty big push right now, Moneybags. Let's go check the Discord just to see if there's any news that maybe just pumped out just now. Haven't seen anything yet. How many prop firms do have lifetime caps? What do you mean by lifetime caps, Johnny? Um, liquidity grabs at market open. I mean, I don't know if that's the terminology I specifically use, but yeah, I mean, I like to see opening volume because generally, again, kind of similar to what I made the comment earlier about like if like when because someone made a comment about Trump tweeting and stuff like that. Depending on like how much volume comes in, you'll find that price still gets respected. So I would like to see how price reacts when we get to certain spots in the market, and that will kind of give me an indication of whether to take it or not. So so Johnny, that question, it really depends on the prop firm. Every prop firm is gonna be different. Some are 50K, some are 100K. But yes, if you're capped out with him, you can't keep trading anymore. Nice, Mandy Bag. Good work. We're 2 minutes from London Open. If you guys aren't already using these hotkeys for when you're trading, by the way, I talk about this almost every stream just to let the newbies know, but it's definitely worth having because speed of execution can really help you in the markets. There's well, I mean, I think in a lot of different discords that you may be on, Johns, there's already like a news feed bot that automatically feeds information through. Otherwise, when you're trading New York, so a lot of people watch Bloomberg News. My trades are not based on per week. They're not even based on per day. The way that I have it set, and I set this for a reason, I'll have it set so that each account can trade 2 trades per day, and depending on the market, I either take trades or I don't. So there are a lot of times there are times where I don't even take any trades on certain accounts. So some accounts could have trades and some accounts might not have any. So this is a lot of volume. So what do I think? So one of the things I said earlier, guys, if you guys remember, I made the comment. I said that right now I don't like to play middle of the range, right? So if you think about it, and I'll draw this out just more so that we can visually see it. What we see here now is that we basically tested the low of the range earlier, and now we're back to the high of the range, right? And so could we potentially short? Yeah, you could. I think that we need to see what we like to do here. So because it doesn't look like we're gonna get our break and retest off of VWAP here. What I want to see is the break and retest of the range now. So if we do get longs, this is essentially what I would want to see, assuming that we don't come back down to test VWAP anymore. That would be the next thing I'd like to see happen. Otherwise, I would short back down to the bottom of the range because we could consolidate. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Nice job, Moneybag. Yeah, man, lock that account. Favorite prop, Lucid for sure. I think Lucid's fast payouts. Dashboard is very intuitive. Plans are amazing. Like you have like flex plans that have basically no rules to them, or you go pro plans that have daily loss limits and consistency rules, but their payouts on those, like the payout caps on them, are much bigger, and your potential for how much money you can move live with them as well is much bigger. They have the straight to fund accounts as well, which is amazing. Their live program is pretty solid too. So yeah, for me, Lucid is a pretty hard one to not like, because I think they're probably one of the only few prop firms in the space right now that allow like that cool down period where like even if you cap out with them with payouts, you can come back and trade with them later on. So not a lot of prop firms allow you to do that. So I would definitely say them. Yeah. Lucid is like any, so Lucid right now, the closest thing to Top Step X would be their Trade C program they use. Otherwise, you just use Trade of 8 hooked up to TradingView. Are there any prop firms that don't have payout max per payout, like how Top Step used to be? Did Top Step not have a payout max before? Every prop firm today that I know of has a cap per payout cycle, and has a cap in the overall lifetime as well. When was Top Step 50%? Because it's always been 50% of your profits with a 5K max. That's what it's always been. So for as long as I've traded Top Step, that's always been the rule. So you've never been able to do push past 5K, even if you had way more than that. And I can say that with confidence because like my largest balance I've ever had with Top Step was $49,000 on a prop account. And like, even with 49,000, I can't withdraw half of that. I can only do 5K at a time, no matter what. It would be better if this closed bearish at 5 minute. A wick is not enough. I mean, maybe if we don't get follow through as well, then that's possible. But there's so many different types of strategies you can take to rate because it all depends on how big of a move you're trying to hold for. If you're looking to scalp, then I think there's always opportunities for you to enter based on like how price reacts to key areas on the chart. And it's hard to want to short, right? Like that was a pretty strong hourly candle. Okay. I never traded Top Step back in 2024. So if that was an option back then, that's amazing. I didn't have that option. I traded Top Step in 2025. So I think most prop firms won't allow that anymore. Um, just because of the fact that like they have to manage their side of the risk of things, right? Like you'll notice like the prop firms that had to put restrictions on metals during these big metals runs is because their accounts were so much more lenient, so it allowed for you to do that, right? Um, So right now, I think your best bet, Josh, is probably My Fund of Futures Pro. So the My Fund of Futures accounts, they're pro accounts. You could withdraw. You can withdraw the entire balance if you wanted to, if you can make it all the way up there. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I actually posted about it. I think a week and a half ago or so, I had a My Fund of Futures Pro account. I took that one account to about $40,000 in profit over the course of 2.5 weeks, I think it was. So and then I withdrew 35,000 of it. So I posted that because I was like, I shared it so that I was showing my dashboard and me requesting the payout and all that stuff. So I think the My Fund of Futures Pro is probably your best bet. Hopefully that helps, Josh. I don't know if that answers your question. Yes, every platform has a lifetime payout cap. No problem, man. Yeah, Lucid's very fast. It's hard to beat him, man. You still holding those long, Vic? It depends on which accounts you buy. I'll check on Lucid right now. Let's see. You can do with code RT. You guys can get 40% off right now on all the accounts. So like a 50K account. Let's see. It's just loading on my end right now. I don't know why it's loading so long right now. Should be like under $100 for a 50K account if you're using a Flex account. Like they're pretty like comparable as far as like price point goes compared to like the competitors. Nice. I'm expecting a reaction up here. If I was a momentum trader, I would take a long right now, but it's not really my style of trading. Actually, I haven't checked gold. What's gold doing now? Yeah, I think so. I think NQ has the possibility to do that for sure. I haven't actually looked at the MF My Fund of Futures Builder accounts yet. But I mean, what is it? I think is what you can get payouts every 2 days. I think of what it was. I mean, it sounds great from what I've seen, but I mean, I can't trade with them anymore either. So I don't know how that account works. It's nice that we're holding above the 692 spot. I don't know how I feel about that 5-minute candle, but Yeah, that's why Lucid's amazing, because Lucid has no subscriptions. Yeah, I mean, we're super bullish, right? It's kind of hard to ignore the bull market that we're in right now. That's brutal, man. I hear you. I actually have a lot of sinus issues too myself, so my nose gets pretty like congested. Let's see how this next 5 minute bar closes. Depending on how it closes, I don't mind taking one stab on the market before I go to bed. Nothing really A plus has presented itself today, guys. I mean, I mentioned all the different trade setups that would have worked out, and pretty much all of them have. But you might say, Alan, why didn't you just take it then? Just because, to be perfectly honest, right now, like I've gotten a lot of my trades that I needed to on my prop accounts already today, so I don't like to just sling it for the sake of slinging it. So maybe what I'll do probably for the next stream is I'll just scoop up a couple of evals, so in case like if I do get to a stage where I have to, then I can whip some. But we'll see. I think tomorrow, what I'm thinking about doing with the streams moving forward, for those who are just kind of tuning in, is that like I'm probably going to use my Take Profit Trader Pro account, and I'll just do daily trades and see if I could get daily payouts every single stream. So we'll see where that goes. 2K drawdown, my recommendation for me. So this is how I traded them back then. You risk $200 per trade, so that would mean that I have 10 trades, right? So it means that if I fail 10 times, my account's gone. So to be perfectly honest, I mean, if I fail 10 trades back to back, then I'm clearly not, I'm not in it, right? So 10. What time do you start? Are you talking about the stream, or are you just saying like in general? Just want to make sure I answer that question properly. Yeah, in terms of my trade style Dragonite, I do prefer break and retests. I don't mind. So if I'm playing like continuation plays, I like my break and retests. If I'm playing reversals, of course rejection. But I'm definitely not a breakout trader though. That's definitely one I don't trade. Stream, it's 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I might move it though. I'll see how this week goes, and if this week continues to be like very weak in terms of its like price moves, then I might move it a little bit later just so that I can catch better trades. To be honest, because even when I used to trade London a lot myself, I would be trading like midnight, right? Like it would be the after midnight period, because prior to that, price is generally slower, right? Let's see how we close here. Close bullish or bearish? That depends on your contract, right? So generally speaking, if you use 3 micros, $180 is 30 points. Just for the sake of the stream. I don't like not taking anything on stream, so let's see here. What do I got here? Let's take a long. That would mean that I'm counting on this to break the zone above us. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All is good. This will be the last thing I do before I shut this down tonight. Got any questions for me, guys? Before I kind of close it up, I'm all as usual. I've been pushing 15 minutes after the my session, just to kind of chat and see how London session actually opens up. But right now we're at topper range. Generally speaking, I like to short the range. But I know some of you guys are in longs right now, so let's just see if we can get some longs in. If not, all good. Yeah, no problem at all, man. Anytime, anytime. Any other questions, gang? Lay it on me, man. Lay it on me. I'll answer anything I can. Reversals. So so first and foremost, generally speaking, that's the reason why I talk about like double tops and double bottoms. So like this is an example of what would be a double top. That's why I said that generally speaking, when you're in the higher range, you would want to short this, to be perfectly honest. But I don't have the bar by bar to want to short this, right? So I would look at candle analysis. If the bar by bar in multiple time frames doesn't look like it's ready to short, then I won't short this reversal, which is why I'm saying that. I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna hop off in like 10, 15 minutes. I don't have a bar to reverse this with, so I'm going to go long instead. And I say this, understand that I don't encourage the behavior of like, oh, if it's not a short, then I'm going to long. I don't think that's ever really a good idea. But I'm just saying that based on the way that we are holding here right now, longs just look good to me right now. This is not an A+. This is not even an A setup for me, to be honest, right? But I want to at least get something out there before we close out the stream tonight here. I like to trade the 2 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15 minute time frame, but I do chart still on the hourly, and I still look at the daily as well. Do I think we live in a simulated reality in the quantum realm? Oh man, that's a very deep thought of question, my friend. I don't know. Sometimes it feels that way, doesn't it? It feels that way. Aren't we all just in a little bit of a rat race in life? Hey, no problem, man. No problem. Come on, trade. Either stop me out or hit my target so I can go to bed. Mondays are like super busy for business, so tomorrow is gonna be a super long day. I'll be basically with doing client work for like 12 hours of the day, and then I still have my pre-London stream tomorrow. So in this trade, it's 30 points. It's a 1 hour trade, so you're risking 30 points for 30 points. I'm in this for you, man. I'm in this for you. My rule applies is always the 10 trade rule. So however you divide that, right? That essentially would mean that you'd be able to risk 450 bucks per trade. 150K count, 450 bucks. I think that's pretty reasonable. That gives you 20. That still gives you 10 shots on the market. And again, if 10 shots on the market, if you're trading like a 2 hour multiple trade setup as well, it also means that in 5 trades you could hit your. I say could because obviously it depends on how often you go back and forth, but you could hit your buffer at that point. So I don't like the way that the 5 minute close, to be honest. That for me looks very bearish. The fact that we're consolidating right now, we're putting in that 5 minute. If we manage to move beneath this 15 minute candle, I definitely think that we'll likely just hit my stop loss at that point. Let's see. We're holding right now. We're holding the 692 area that I've been talking about from earlier. So hopefully we can hold and push up from here. I think that 1R is just when you're looking at that, it's more so just if you're testing setups. Like I'm doing 1R for sure because like I said, this is not an A+, nor is this an A setup for me. So I'm not going to shoot for more R multiple. Then at that point I'm really just gambling. In terms of target wise, I have a marker point at 26,739. So I don't want to be like looking to hit that because it could reject even right before it. So I'm kind of playing it close to the chest here and putting my target 7 points beneath it. What did I change? I think that in terms of whatever style that you're trading today, it needs to fit your personality. I talked about this actually in a podcast that I was on last year, I think. I think a trading system and a trading strategy has to fit you as a trader. So, like for example, if I taught you how to scalp, even if I was the best scalper in the world, if you don't have the psychology and the depth to scalp, then it's not going to work well out for you, right? Like you're going to struggle. Same thing with like holding trades, right? Like I can hold trades for long. Like I've some of my biggest trades have been held for like 200 to even 300 points before, but can I hold trades long consistently the way Jake does? No, I can't. He's definitely got a much better knack for that than me. So that's what I mean by you have to really understand yourself as a trader to really understand what works best for you and kind of go down that path, right? So I don't know if that answers your question. Are you gonna go to bed, Vic? I don't know where your PT is, but I mean, do you want to risk too much? But yes, I would like this to move here. If we can get a 5 minute close, oh, above that red drawn channel that I drew, that'd be nice. Oh, my back's killing me. Cole, I think you like that bot a little too much there, man. You want to full port that bad? If this 5 minute closes above the channel, then I think it's safe to inch up the stop loss, to be honest, just because if it doesn't move, then it's not going to move further than that anyway. I think the break and retests, I'm open to anything, to be honest. Any of the things that you listed there. It depends on what the structure looks like. That would decide it for me. Yeah, Jake's got balls of steel, man. That's why he can do it. I don't like that 5 minute close. See, like it would have been really nice if we had closed above that channel. I don't like that we came back down again. It just tells you again when we talk about this range, there's just so much going on up there. Hey, have a good night, Robert. Or have a good day. I can't remember what time zone you're from. Oh, yeah, then you're my time zone if you're in Jersey. Yeah, I know. It's not good. This is not good. This is shaping up to look like it wants to short, but we'll see. 30-second open range? Definitely not. I don't trade within the seconds. Probability wise, Waluku, I will tell you that I would say that breakout trades don't work out often as much as retest trades would, at least for me. From all my back testing, breakout trades tend to fail for me a lot. And this actually would be a very good example of that, guys. Like, you want to see it, if you would have taken this trade as a breakout trade, it would have failed on you. Yeah, it's looking good for a short here, to be honest, off that range, the upper end of that range. Do you remember I made the comment that this is where I would probably move my stop if we didn't get that close above that break or above that area? Yep, this is why. See you tomorrow, man. Oh, NJN, if you're just hopping on to see this, I literally just told the gang that I'm just taking a trade before I go to bed at this point. There's been no key setup. This, I made the comment when we were down here that we either would long this from the bottom of the range or we would short from the top of the range. And to be honest, right now, it's really looking like short would have been better than longs. We'll see this next 2 minute. I would say if we don't get a nice move up in the next 2 minute here, it's very likely just going to sink. When I used to use small caps, I would do breakout trades more. Small caps, I was definitely breakout because when you're trading small caps, you're definitely trading momentum, right? So like usually when like a key area gets broken, it like launches from there. So it's more plausible in that regard. But when you're trading like large cap, it's not. I find that it's not the same, at least from my experience. That's a very good question though. No one's actually asked me the comparison between small caps and regular. Small caps, I definitely would be more interested in breakouts. I'm just going to move my stop loss here now, to be honest, because I think this trade is has a good potential to just reverse now at this point. So I'm not going to hold this for longer than I need to. So I think that there's a good thing to take away from this conversation, though, as we talked about. This is an example of that double top. If I wasn't already in a trade right now, based on how this 15-minute is closing right now, I would short this. Yeah, he breaks out trades. Yeah, it's his style. So it depends. That's why I said it depends on what type of things you're trading. Yep, stopped out. So did you guys see that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I said that as soon as that 15-minute closed the way it is, then I would have shorted that. And that was a really nice move to the downside there. So I want to touch on this one last thing here before I close it out, okay? Because I really think this is important. Notice that I took the trade and I said not A plus, not A setup, not looking great, but I'm just gonna take something because some of you guys were in long, so I said I don't mind doing this anyways, just for the gang. But everything I've said so far today. I really want you to hone in on this because this is the learning lesson here. I mentioned I don't like trading in the middle of the range. I mentioned that if we're going to take the bottom, I'd like to do a break and retest to get that move up to the upper end of the range. I told you that one of my favorite setups are double tops, right? And I made the comment that as soon as we got up here as well, I said that right now, based on the way we're shaping, it really looks like I'm probably going to get stopped out. And I said that if the 15-minute closes bearish, then it's going to likely go down. What did we do? We closed out 15-minute bearish, we double topped, and we had that push down. It was like immediate, right? So you guys heard it. This is recorded, so you could look back at this and you'll remember me saying this as well. But this is the type of stuff that's important, right? So for me, I look at this, I think a lot of traders would look at the loss and get super, super upset and be like, oh man, I'm going to degen, I'm going to try to make it back. Just all that really matters in a trade is, was it your setup or was it not? If you lost to a trade that was your setup, it is what it is, right? If you lost your trade because you took it and it wasn't your setup, you can't even be upset. It's not your setup, right? So, I say this because I think this is where a lot of traders will tend to, spiral and go out of control. And this is honestly the stuff that ends up creating that degen for you guys, right? And what makes you start going down that wrong path of spiraling. So just want to make sure that you guys understand that, because that's a very important component of understanding. And that's also why I like to rotate accounts, because when I'd like to test theories and things don't work out, I can shrug it off a lot easier when I know I'm individually trading an account versus if I'm copy trading and burning 5 accounts at the same time. Like if I took a loss like that on 5 accounts, I wouldn't have even taken that trade at all, because there was not enough of a reason for me to take that trade, right? But I also had no reason to short at that time. Because some of you guys may be like, oh, Alan, if you said you were going to short double top, why didn't you just short instead of longing if you were going to take a random stab? Like I said, there was no long, but there was also no short. So why would you take it, right? Why would you just take a trade for the sake of it? So that's the reason why I'm like, in the end of the game, I'm all good with it. But yeah, all good, man. All good. Like I said, I said what I said in the beginning, right? So it's all good. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense though, guys. Because recapping the day here, when we talk about how we traded gold, what were the opportunities that we had in terms of taking the profit where we should have off the long of 806 to the trim of 815. And then we talked about the NQ short trade here, where we had from the upper end here when we reclaimed back beneath 692, the lower high that we had as well, and then the bottom of the range long that we had here. Didn't really like the consolidation here, instead of, because the break and retest would have been a lot better. But yep, it's all good though. I'll leave it at that though. If you guys have any other questions, you can always feel free to drop me a question via DM as well on Instagram. I'll copy it here one last time. You guys feel free to give me a shout. I'll answer where I can. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one, gang.